Today in Nonfiction Studies, we are going to read a book called Why, Oh, Why is the Desert So Hot? Go like this. The deserts are so hot. In this book, The Cat and the Hat takes us through an adventure in the desert. As you listen to the story and look at the pictures, I want you to be thinking about the things that you've already learned in nonfiction studies about the desert. Think about what you would see if you were in the desert and what the book is showing us too. When we're finished reading, we are going to write our own story about what it would be like if we had a day in the desert. Let's get reading.
Why, oh why, are deserts dry? I'm the Cat in the Hat, and today is the day that we're off to see deserts. Let's leave right away! You may think that deserts are empty and bare, but you'll be surprised by the things we'll find there. Insects and lizards, flowers and snow. Want to see for yourself? Buckle up and let's go! Why are deserts dry? I'll be glad to explain. There are very few clouds above them to bring rain. Without clouds, there is nothing to block the sun's light or to hold the heat in, so it gets cold at night. The air is so dry, any rain deserts get dries up right away, so they do not get wet. Without water, surviving in deserts is rough.
Plants, insects, and animals need to be tough.
But Cat in the Hat, Miss Joseph taught us that all living things need to have water. So how do they live where it's dry? Cat in the Hat said, I will show you right now. Desert plants must find water. Some have ways to store it. Roots spread out to find it or reach deep down for it. Shallow roots of this cactus pull water through them. The cactus then stores it inside its stem. There's a tree in the desert that's called a mesquite. Its roots reach for water that's down 40 feet. Say, whoa! The Sonoran Desert is where we will find a very big cactus that's one of a kind. It's called the saguaro, and I have been told it can grow to be over 200 years old. A cactus, you see, has deep pleats in its skin, but they will expand when the water flows in. It soaks up the water and then quickly swells. Like a sponge, it stores water in some of its cells. The Gila woodpecker knows very well that a cactus will serve as the perfect hotel. She pecks a small hole and then slips inside. It's cool and it gives her a safe place to hide. When she's ready to leave, well, I have little doubt someone else will move on in after she has moved out. Do you see how the owl is now moving on in after the woodpecker moved out of the cactus? How do insects get water? What some of them do is get water that's inside the plants that they chew. These desert insects are honeypot ants. All year long, they collect the sweet nectar from plants. They store it inside them, and they can feed it to ants who are hungry whenever they need it. The Namib Desert gets rain rarely, and yet fog comes from the sea and makes everything wet. Here, the fog-basking beetle has a way to survive, getting water it needs to help him stay alive. It tilts its abdomen up. Water droplets soon slide down its body and into its mouth and open wide. Animals differ in the food that they eat and the ways they keep cool in the dry desert heat. In the daytime, small animals stay underground. Later on, when it's cooler, they move above ground. This cute fennec fox's furry-soled feet help him walk on hot sand. His big ears let out heat. Kangaroos lick their arms to help them cool off their skin. Then each digs a hole in the ground and then they climb in. We asked this lizard how he spends his days. Each morning, he's warmed by the gentle sun rays. By midday, it's hotter, and it's time to hide. He slips into his burrow and goes deep inside. In the late afternoon, he is back in the sun. It is not as hot now, and the day's almost done. Then he's back in his burrow to sleep through the night. He'll be up with the sun just as long as it's light. Hawks, eagles, and vultures fly high in the air. They stay off the ground. It's much cooler up there. Kangaroo rat never drinks, but she eats lots of seeds. The water inside them is all that she needs. Road runners can fly, but they usually run. They catch lizards and snakes in the hot desert sun. The Sahara Desert, geographers say, is almost as big as the whole USA. Here, the crowned sandgrouse flies high in the sky, miles and miles to find water, and I'll tell you why. His babies are thirsty and waiting for him, so when he finds water, he quickly flies in. He soaks with his feathers until they are wet. This water is all that his babies will get. They drink from his feathers, which dry soon, and then he must take to the sky to find water again. Out here in the desert, when winds start to blow, there are few plants to help hold the sand down, and so the wind blows the sand, which forms into dunes. It makes shapes in the sand, like beautiful moons. What is this nomad wearing? It's called a burnous. It protects him from the sun. It is long and it is loose. In the Mojave Desert, plants bloom, grow, and die, but they leave seeds behind in the ground, and that is why. When it rains, these seeds burst into flowers so bright. There's a rainbow of colors. It's a beautiful sight. They will not live long, but before it is over, there are lilies, primroses, sunflowers, and owl clover. Some flowers stay open for only one day. Hummingbirds drink their nectar and then they fly away. In the shimmering heat of the sun's burning glare, you might think you see something that's not really there. This is called a mirage. You say it, mirage. It's a bit like a dream. Things you think you are seeing are not what they seem. When you get a bit closer, things fade out of sight. They were not there at all. It's a trick of the light. In a dry, dusty desert, if you suddenly see something green up ahead, like some plants or a tree, this is called an oasis, where these plants are growing. Somewhere in the ground, there is water that's flowing. So this is a special word. The word is oasis. Oasis. You say it. Some deserts are hot in the sun's burning light, but the temperature falls and it gets cold at night. Then the world comes alive with owls, foxes, and bats, coyotes and rabbits, mice, deer, and rats. Nocturnal animals come out, and soon they search to find food by the light of the moon. Before the sun rises, they all disappear. You would think all the animals were never even here. Not all deserts are hot. The next place we'll go is the Gobi, and here we will find ice and snow. This Bactrian camel is happy to meet you. Some camels have 1 hump. Bactrians have 2. If he goes a long time without eating or drinking, the humps on his back start steadily shrinking. They're not filled with water, but instead contain fat. When he can't eat or drink, he keeps going on that. I filled up. So this camel, when he doesn't have enough water, he takes the food and the fat that's in his humps, and that's how he starts to eat. And then the more he eats from the humps, the smaller the humps get because he's taking the food out of it. This page is really cool. Antarctica is the largest desert of all. The air is so cold here that rain does not fall. This desert is covered with, that's right, ice and with snow. The ice never melts here, and the freezing winds blow. It is dark in the winter and cold through the year. Though scientists visit, no people live here. Today you've seen things that few people will see, and I am so happy you saw them with me. A desert, it's true, is a harsh habitat, but I hope you've discovered it's much more than that. No day in a desert is ever the same, and once you've been there, you are glad you came. Did you like that story? It was really cool, right? We learned all about different types of deserts and different types of plants and animals that are in all those types of deserts. It is so cool. In the story, Cat in the Hat went on a journey with those 2 kids. Now, you're going to write a story about your journey through a desert. I want you to make a mind movie. Close your eyes. Make one. We're going to think about what would happen and what we would see if we went into a desert. Let's get started.